Hi, this is Trey Pass. I have a lot of free time. I wanted to talk about the Super Friends, specifically the challenge of the Super Friends, because Super Friends, I think it was on for a bunch of seasons, but I think this happened in the third season of the Super Friends, because I remember the first season I think was with Wendy, Marvin, and Wonder Dog, and then I think it was the Wonder Twins, Zan and Jaina, and the Space Monkey Gleek. But then the third season, I remember this specifically, and this had really made me sit up and notice because I was a comic fan growing up, obviously, and I was excited because you had basically 13 DC villains going up against 11 Super Friends, even though technically Robin wasn't a super. Well, I guess Robin was a Super Friend back then, but he wasn't in the Justice League. But anyway, enough of that. Uh, you go to the comic book conventions over the years, and I picked up these things. They sell these tapes. These like knockoffs. Now you can actually buy the DVDs of them on the Blu-rays and stuff. And I actually have the Justice League series that came on Cartoon Network. I have those on DVD and stuff. And I'm gonna buy these Challenge of the Super Friend ones on DVD. I'm gonna order those. These are just the VHS tapes that I got. That's how long ago I've had these. That I bought these at a comic book convention a long time ago, and I kept them, and I watch them from time to time. And now, we have all this free time. Unfortunately, uh, I've been watching, going over it and watching it again. And what I always loved about it, the intro was great. From Remote Galaxies, 13 of the world's most powerful villains going against, only one group dares challenge this intergalactic threat, the Super Friends. Then they see them marching, and then you see them, the intro. Which intro was just, I always loved that intro for that. But anyway, specifically what I wanted to talk about was the episodes are pretty. Most of them were pretty good for the most part, even though some of them were sort of silly. But there was specifically one episode that I remember because it's not in here actually. I think discovered this episode because I was looking through the episodes and I thought, wait a minute, because one of these two episodes are repeated on other VHS tapes that I have here, but there was one episode I remember where Batman died. I mean, literally in the beginning of it, it's like it opens with a funeral, okay, and everybody's saying, I think Wonder Woman is the first one to speak, say, I can't believe he's gone, and then I think even Green Lantern said he stood for truth and justice and all that stuff, and then Robin goes sniffles and said, "I'll miss you, pal." He said, "I'll never forget you, right, old chum? I'll never forget you," or something like that. And he sniffles, and then you see Superman say, "Even though the world will not know who he is, but the world will always remember it's Batman." All right, and then you see the big tombstone with Batman on it, dead, or I think it said deceased or whatever. I think it said dead, whatever the year it was. And that episode really, it really got to me because you see that Superman's basically in this episode. The Legion of Doom was always trying to, knock off the Super Friends so they can take over the world. That's the basic premise of it. Uh, they got this Noxium crystal, uh, and they had everything in it to kill all the Super Friends. Okay, it had green kryptonite for Superman and a yellow thing for Green Lantern and so on and so on to kill all the Super Friends. And basically throughout the episode, they get getting knocked off left and right, and it was somber and it was like sometimes there were a little humor in it, but this series Challenge of Superman is pretty much serious all the time. But I remember that episode and it really stuck to me. And then I looked through my thing and I could never see it. Then I used to always try to go back to the comic book and see if I could get it. And for some reason I could never find that one. I don't know if these are basically they taped them off the TV, basically anyway, VHS tapes. Even though I'll watch them now because I do still have technically a VCR here, and they play for the most part. But that was one episode I could never get until I think Cartoon Network a few years ago they started showing these episodes again, and I think I taped it off. I taped it off the TV and watched it again after not seeing it for a while because I remember seeing it. I could remember that episode, but I could never get it on these. When I used to always go to these conventions, I just never see it, and I said, "What was that episode?" And then I had to finally Google and say, "Yeah, this is an episode was called Super Friends Rest in Peace." Okay, and it was a really good episode. And if you've seen it, you know the premise of this. And again, this is spoilers for those who haven't seen it anyway, so if you don't want to turn away. But anyway, the basic premise, like I said, they had that Noxian crystal, and they were knocking off the Super Friends. The Super Friends were basically in hiding, okay, and the villains were like Lex Luthor, for instance. He kidnapped Perry White and Lois Lane, knowing that Superman would come to rescue them, and he got killed that way. And Batman went to stop the Riddler, and he got killed. Wonder Woman, Paradise Island was getting attacked, and Cheetah killed her when she went to rescue it. And then they basically told the Super Friends, their other Super Friends, to leave Earth, or we'll knock you off. And they basically looks like they leave Earth. You see them departing from Earth, and it looks like they're they all left, but actually you see them come back, and then they get caught, and then Lex Luthor comes with the crystal, and he starts knocking them off one at a time, bam, 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 and so all the Super Friends are dead. And then Cavalier, which now that I think about it, back as a kid, you never think about these things when you're a kid, but Lex Luthor just goes, won't need this no more. Since we killed all the Super Friends, I don't need this crystal anymore, and just casually tosses it over his shoulder, and of course it goes into the sewer. And then you see this mysterious figure in this, looks like in a hazmat suit with a metal detector, and then ding, 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 you see him, he finds it, and then he takes it, and then he goes up, and you see him put it in like this bazooka thing and shoots it off into space, and he goes into a walkie-talkie, it's done. And then you see that, the Legion of Doom, which is always the way it worked, they were all bragging and all happy that they've taken over their Earth and everybody's in. And then you see the Justice League show up, and they, the Super Friends show up, and they take off their disguises, and Lex Luthor is stunned. Wait a minute, how did you survive? We killed you all. And they said, no, Batman says, no, we were just hiding. You killed off our android doubles, who we programmed them to fail, and we were hiding basically in Justice League satellite while you knocked off all our robot duplicates, and we were waiting for you to. And Apache Chief was the one that actually found the crystal and tossed it into space. So now, they don't have to worry about that anymore. And then they capture the Legion of Doom at the end. But I always remember that episode just because it was so shocking back then as a kid. Basically Batman comic books, people die all the time, and they come back. But I think back then it wasn't as prevalent as it came to be later. And especially on a TV show, it was kind of, this was the Saturday morning TV, and to see literally Batman, and I think that was a good idea to use Batman, or it could like Superman, but Batman made it because Batman was, one of the main heroes, so, he's part of the Trinity, so killing him off in the first beginning of it, it was like a shocking thing, which really made you pay attention, and then you see them get knocked off one at a time, and then you go, wait a minute, how are they going to get out of this? And then they say, oh, well, those are robot duplicates that we programmed to fail, which I think a lot of people got pissed off at that because, and they were programmed to fail, and that's how they overcame it. But as a kid, hey, I enjoyed that. So I think out of all those episodes, I think which was like 16 episodes of this Challenge of the Super Friends, that one was my favorite. I just liked that because it was somber and dark. And that one is my favorite. But I think a close second would be the one where the episode where the Legion of Doom goes back in time, and they basically get rid of the three most powerful Super Friends. They screw around with their origins, so you get to see the origin of Superman and Green Lantern and Wonder Woman. And I think that was pretty clever the way they did that. So you got to see their backstory, and you got to see, the Super Friends didn't know what had happened, and those members just disappeared, and they didn't know who they were, and then until they actually got captured by the Legion of Doom, and they went and tapped into their memory banks, and they found out that there were three powerful Super Friends that the Legion of Doom went back and screwed around their history, and so they go back in time to stop them from doing it, and then those members come back. So I thought that was pretty cool too. But anyway, let me know what you think. What was your favorite challenge of the Super Friends episode? Where it was, like I said, I think mine was the one Rest in Peace, Super Friends Rest in Peace. I just love that episode because, like I said, maybe if I had it in these four that I had, maybe I wouldn't. And I've been watching it every year, but it just made me appreciate it more. That I guess that I didn't see it, and I don't know if they showed it as much. Maybe because they changed this. Because sometimes things change with sensitivities and stuff, and literally you had Superman's getting knocked off, and that's, I think, pretty intense for a Saturday morning cartoon. These characters that beloved by kids the characters are literally getting killed, but luckily, they came back at the end. But that was a pretty serious subject for a Saturday morning cartoon, okay, which I thought was pretty clever, and I liked it. Anyway, let me know what you think. Feel free to leave comments down below. I have links to my social media in the description box. I have links to my I said that already. My links to my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram in the description box, as well as a link to my other channel, Paul Views and Opinions. Please check that out as well. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long. Take care.